How are you, sir?
Fine, I'm good.
Okay. How the network is okay now?
Well, we're managing. I hope it remains stable until we're done.
Okay. There's this favorite quote of yours that everybody is talking about now.
Yes.
About the president's speech.
Yes.
What made you conclude or come to that conclusion about the speech?
Well, the point is that the protesters demanded that the president should speak to them, and they kept hammering on it, speak to us, and they were expecting to hear something new. And having been given a 12-minute speech, then people start scrambling to even pick points from what the president says. So what I did was, in a poetic form, I said what the president said only made us speechless. They asked for a speech, they got a speech, and they were left speechless. So it is a short analysis of the situation when it comes to the issue of the demand by the protesters and also the response of the president. So
were you surprised at that response? Were you expecting anything better than that?
From the president?
Yes.
Well, there are a lot of expectations in the sense that people have been protesting for weeks. And when it was the time for the president to speak, all he did was to narrate what they have been doing, billions of naira for youth. And then he went on to narrate the programs and policies of the government. And then it ended up with threats and order against the young people. And if you look at this young generation, they are not people you can simply threaten. This is not 1985. What was expected? What was expected of the president was that he will say, "I have inaugurated a panel to go around and take stock of losses made, both lives and properties, with the view of compensation, and then a formal apology to young people for the hesitation of the government in terms of taking action on this issue." I mean, that's to soothe his nerves, and it calms people down. But if you look at the younger generations, the one we have today, this is not the generation of their fathers and mothers. That speech is okay in the 20th century. People will be afraid. People will start trembling. But if you look at these young people in the internet, these are people whose life was not shaped by our own history. They have their own history, and they are not people who were shaped by the Awolowo, Ahmadu Bello, Ezekie's political theory and thoughts. These are people who have grew up in an information age where they have formed a global tribe, and they have the capacity to mobilize funds for protest and also attract the attention of celebrities and political leaders globally to their cause. And they also have the capacity.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, sir. I'd like you to share with us your thoughts on all that is going on in the country right now. What do you make of the whole thing over the last 2 weeks?
Well, the fact on the ground in the last few weeks was that Nigerians, particularly young people, have stood up to challenge the established authority, triggered by police brutality and cruelty, the section of the police which was the SARS. And that protest has consciously brought thousands of Nigerians to the street and has exposed a number of things. As a democracy, they have the right to protest, but unfortunately, the protest was badly handled by the security agencies, by the political establishment, and also by the use of thugs, either against the protesters or the thugs hijacking the whole protest that's supposed to be peaceful and orderly. And the protest is the first time in the history of Nigeria that mass uprising has shaken the foundation of the state and has also sent a clear message to people in the position of power that as long as there is injustice, iniquity, and oppression and repression in the land, there will be bound a time when people are going to rise. And we have seen the rise of a new generation of activists who are within the range of 18 to 28 to 29. The generation that were shaped by the social media, the internet, a generation that is daring, courageous, that is influenced by events globally, a generation that is free from the encumbrances, the impediments, and the limitations of the old ones in terms of tribalism, ethnicity, religion, and sectionalism. But unfortunately, the protest was manipulated by those who want to discredit and end it by trying to give it a regional outlook, which is unfortunate. And I believe that if the government has acted early in the earlier days of the protest in terms of addressing the demands of the young people, we couldn't have found ourselves where we are today. But we reach a point where the old order who are in power, they want to threaten them, they want to order them. And if you look at the thinking of these young people, you better listen to them rather than order them and try to dictate to them. So this is what happened.
Were you surprised at the organizational level at which it took the whole protest in terms of funding, in terms of organization, in terms of structure, and all of that? Were you surprised?
Well, I'm not surprised because in the last 20 years plus, we have seen the rise of a new generation of activists who are influenced by similar events globally. The protests in Sudan, the one in Algeria, the Black Lives Matters, the one currently going